Hello, hello, hello. Happy Monday, happy Columbus Day, if you can still call it that. How is everyone doing this morning? Hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. So, good morning, Sterling. Thank you for putting the news in. Good morning, Patrick. Uh, what else do we have here? Nvidia up raises target price from 135 to 150. And oh, hey, John. Good morning, Milton, Florida, in the eye of the storm. We were fortunate. Well, I'm glad you were fortunate. Again, good morning to the people hiding in the background. Good morning. Please jump in with some comments. All right. Hey, Charles. How are you doing? All right. It's sort of a quiet week. It's a very quiet day today. It's Columbus Day in the USA. And in Canada, it's Thanksgiving. To all my Canadian friends, happy Thanksgiving. Good morning, Daniel. Good morning, Richard. Well, didn't the Patriots lose this weekend? Oh boy, I know what you mean, Richard. I had to make the I had to make the joke though. Today we got Fed speak. Kashkari, Waller, and Kashkari again. And that's it, because it's Columbus Day. Tomorrow we got daily speaking, we got Empire State Manufacturing Index, we got Kugler, Bostic. Wednesday, we got mortgage stuff and nothing. I mean, this is a quiet week besides earnings and option expiration. Thursday is the most interesting day with retail sales, Philly Fed numbers, uh, and your unemployment numbers. Uh, Also, your EIA numbers on Thursday because of the holiday today. So those are shifted one day. And then Friday we got building permits, Bostic, Kashkari, Waller, and rig counts. So that's not important. What's really going to dominate this week is the Thursday information. We got options expiration. So right here, you got your monthly options expiration. And normally I would let all the hedges expire. I'm thinking of still keeping some on based off market conditions and instability index. So that's where that sits. In terms of the market, still buy everything. We are getting to the cycle top area. Remember, earnings expectations have also been really beat down. So it's set up for companies to still beat, but you're going to have to compare it to where they were like last year and especially last quarter. Okay. So what's the trend on earnings, even though your expectations have been beat way down? But you got mega caps, everything's up this morning heading into the week. Technology, utilities, comm services all leading higher. Energy and basic materials pulling back. Fed watch sells 84% for the next 25 basis point cut in November. Fear and greed, right at greed, extreme greed borderline. Schiller PE ratio 37.38 in terms of earnings. Really nothing today. I don't even know what Karu is. Tomorrow we got Walgreens, United Health, Citi, Johnson Johnson, Bank of America, United. What else do we have? Big things this week. We got ASML, Morgan Stanley on Wednesday morning, Alcoa after the close, TSMC on Thursday, and we had the blockade of Taiwan with China in the news last night. Then we have Netflix. That's probably your biggest sort of the biggest tech entertainment thing this week. And rounding it out for the week, you have American Express, P&G. So this is a decently busy. The next couple weeks beyond this will be even busier in terms of earnings, but this is a decently busy week, especially for financials. All right. Good morning, Jake. Good morning, Anissa. Good morning, Jacob. Good morning, Ted. I like to counter was why it was so quiet. Yeah, it's quiet because of the holiday. According to the political trading market, Donald Trump now leads Kamala Harris by 6 percentage points. Well, There we go. Yeah, we're going to get some unexpected political stories. You're going to get some of that coming out too. Is there any way? I think the money is run, for the most part, the money's run out. Although they're still doing these, they're still issuing up the PPP loans. Ridiculous. Can we look at Z? Just remind me. All right. So, by the way, the massive potential double top is off the table in the S&P. That does not mean it can't go down, but we cannot use any of those targets below. Still, August 5th's lows are going to be key, but the double top pattern is officially off the table. We're also wedging higher. All right, but we're getting to a daily cycle top and a weekly cycle top. So be prepared. Be prepared for potential rollover plays. We're coming into our next cluster area, which was the top was about 58.85. We're approaching that now. And then the next target above there is, what is it? I can't see exactly what it is. 59.40. And then 6. 6, the magic 6 number. So that's what it is. Your major support, I'm just going through the major levels today, is about 5,800. 5,800 to 5,814. If you want our area, it's about 5,800 to 5,830 on the broader area, because 5,830 is coming in with Friday's open, Thursday's close, and the rising rotation zone. It's all against China announced more stimulus. This will eventually be another rollover play, but I would not fight it in the short term. It will be another rollover play. What they're doing, what Z is doing, is not sustainable, and they're just trying to bail stuff out. Again, a whole bunch of stuff isn't sustainable long term, but in the short term, remember, short term can dominate with financial input. So that's what I'm watching. I'm just watching because we are wedging higher and we're at ends of potential 5-5 waves for Elliott fans out there. And we're also at potential massive demarc sell signals that have not triggered yet. None of this is triggered yet, but we are at the end. So I know where your key, your short term and your medium term stops are. Just know where they are. They may not get triggered. Just know where they are. Other than that, the trend is still clearly up. We're just getting to a topping area. NASDAQ, you still have the mini double on the table. If it gets beyond 20,718, it will be off the table. Other than that, that's the minor target I'm using is 20,000, about 630, and then 20,720 are the two key targets in the short term. We're getting to cycle tops, but nothing's triggered a rollover yet. And we do still in the NASDAQ have the bigger potential double top in place. Going into this week, my major support level is back at 20,350. That's my first key support level. The Dow, see here, hitting the next cluster very, very nicely. Beyond that, if it keeps marching higher, we're looking at a 43,700. 43,700. The key support on the Dow is about 42.7 to about 42.8 is the support zone for the Dow. Again, Dow daily cycle top, getting to the top area, weekly cycle back to the topping area. So that's why I'm cautious. The Russell hitting that 75. Russell's coming up out of this flag and channel pattern, but into major resistance area. The major resistance is about 2280, and the key support is back at 2200. Other than that, there isn't a lot of great trading. Still, VIX remaining elevated. The DAX, We have now hit the second target and the 87.5 on the DAX. So we're into this top area. We're also in potential double top territory for the DAX. So keep that in mind. But it's a long way off from triggering. All right. So that's the only downside. Other than that, if it does break higher, if it does continue with the double top patterns and take those out, the next major target is 19.817 area. Still 10-year notes weakening. 10-year notes weakening. We do have a little mini. Still, the trend is down in the notes. I'm still watching for it to hit this 111.14 area. The only thing that would change it in the short term is this little mini double. That would take it back to the rotation zone. Other than that, still watching for yields to climb. Yields to climb back through the next target area. By the way, this mini double is off the table. Why? Because you can see here it turned into a triple and now breaking out higher. So that was from a trailing perspective, but my key target, as I've talked about before, is this 416.5 area. The 200 and the 50% retracement from this whole down move. That is very key. And remember, between the 50 and 62, we could definitely see a pause if it does get through this 50 area. It's also massive resistance in here and was gone on a pretty substantial run. Cycles are still turning down, but this is still trying to climb. And we could be getting some divergent setups here. So we might see a definite pause in the yield, at least going into the next Fed meeting at some point. But until then, the trend is still up. Yield curve back of about 19. The yield 10-2s curve back about 19. So, it's put in a key little pivot low and climbing back up. Dollar index closing back in on the 50% harmonic, which is my next key target, is 103. Nothing's changed with that. Pulled back to rotation zone after pausing at the minor harmonic and now climbing up. We go through that. The next key area is about 103.40. So this is definitely in still trailing mode. We could be also getting to a pausing area on the dollar between this 103 and 103.80 area. So that's what I'll be watching for. Crude, this is interesting. It's still trying to build a higher base. We did not close above the 62.5 on Thursday or Friday. Little pullback today, but this is forming what so far looks as a higher base. So as long as we don't trade below 71.50, and really close below 71.50, I'm still watching for more upside potentially in crude. What do we got going on? Kashkari, one of the Fed's most important assets is his credibility. Well, you're losing that. You're in the final stage of getting it back to 2%. So these kind of statements, and you're not though. Core is still running above 3%. What are they going to try to get just a headline CPI print to hit 2, and then they're saying, hey, we did it, and then headline CPI climbs again, and core remains like above 3, and they're like, it doesn't matter. We took out 2. Let's just re-baseline it at 3 now. If you're modest, you know what? Oh boy, fantastic! I'm just so tired of all the hacking stuff. So watching for higher crude, watching for the continued little pullback after hit. Natty gas put in a minor topping pattern at this 87.5 and now pulling back. So that not only remember we had the double bottom played out, we closed above the 62.5, we took out the 87.5, and we stalled out right there. So watching for some key support to come back in, possibly around this about 250 area, 247. Gold did not close above the 62.5 on Friday. Still watching for that. Trying to break up, but key supports. Watch the rotation zone on gold for this to catch and potentially go higher. We still have Daily cycles climbing. We're against weekly cycles, but so far we've just done a sideways weekly correction. See, we had a spike down, but if in the macro pattern, we spiked near the rotation zone, but so far it's just a sideways correction. We have the yen still climbing towards the first sloppy head and shoulders target. Okay, still watching that. I need to I want to put on these two. From this little high area to this key low, we also have the 50% retracement right around the 200. So that's where I'm paying attention to see if we get a pause somewhere around this area in the yen weakening. Euro, remember, we're retesting the first target on the little mini, well, actually quite substantial double top pattern. We just have a mini potential double bottom pattern. So that's the only thing that could provide any short-term bullish bounce if we get a breather in the dollar. Bitcoin, still in this channel, trying to break higher, but still in. You can see from the weekly, still in the declining channel. Even if we break higher, this could be setting up a massive top area. So I would know where your longer term stops are if you're in bullish mode on Bitcoin. Ethereum, again, we still have the mini potential double here. We've hit the first target on double top. The only thing that would reverse this is the double bottom triggering, which has not done yet. The spiders, we closed on Friday exactly at the key cluster area. So right now, the next key target is 583.50. The key support is coming in at 577.23. Other than that, not much to talk about. The Qs, the next, if it breaks higher, the next target is 495.75 area. Key support on the Qs is really coming in at 491. Hold on one second. What stock was I supposed to look at? And then we'll get to some other questions. Was it Z? Yeah, look at Z. Let's look at Z. Let's look at the good old Zillow. I gotta zoom out for this one. Let's look at Zillow. You're still in short-term bullish mode. You spiked last week into the rotation zone. You know, your key support is coming in around this 59 level. That's really, I mean, even on, you have a key support zone in Zillow, right around 56 to 59. You start losing that support zone, I think it's over for Zillow in the short term and possibly the medium term. Other than that, you still you got waning momentum. Pulling back, you are losing the daily rotation zone, but you're still sitting above support. Really, if you start closing below 59, I'd be in more cautious mode, watching for a potentially bigger pullback. And 56, losing 56, it's all over. Other than that, in the short term, Friday hit a percent B buy. So in the short term, where it has to get above now, in order for me to remain short term bullish on any bounce, it has to get above 65.15. Could I reveal how and where I choose to draw my harmonics? I've talked about this before. You have the recent harmonic and you have the major harmonic. Okay, you have a recent harmonic and a major harmonic. So, for example, and you have forward and reverse. for on NVIDIA, the reverse harmonic comes from the low of the August 5th to the high of the week of the 17th of the June. The minor harmonic would be the forward harmonic, which was from that same low to this key pausing bar. You can really see it on the weekly. So that reinforces this high. If it takes out this high, the next key area is 147.02, then 153.28. If you want to go with the longer term harmonics, if you think this is in super bull mode, then you can really spot it on stocks on the weekly basis. This would be a key pivot low back from the October 22 lows to here, because that's your major pausing high. So on your longer term harmonics, now this gives us a cluster. So let's just say this does not guarantee it's going to break out. We're getting into a very key topping area. But if it does, if my next key target would be, the first would be the highs, because you got a harmonic reinforcing that highs. Then the minor would be 147 for raising the stop. The next key would be 153.28 to 157 to watch for a potential topping pattern there, and definitely raise a stop again, if not unwind a bit for a pullback. And then your major target, should it continue to go, would be 173. Now, I would not be surprised, just looking at NVIDIA also, you see we're stair stepping down in terms of momentum on each high. So even if this ekes out a new high, which it very well could, and take out that 140.76 area, 140, 140 is technically the harmonic, that would just be another massive triple divergence. So that's how I look at the harmonics. Okay, so like in the S&P, your key reverse harmonics were from the low of the 5th back to the high of the 15th, which gives us these two key harmonics. That was the reverse harmonics based off the weeklies. The forwards, again, a key pivot low was this one from October. Why? Because this we got the percent beat buy. This was a key pivot low. And then your significant high was right in here. I don't have those on here right now because we don't need them, because it's just going to put too many lines. But that's another key harmonic area you can utilize. The next minor target is this 59.39. If we did put those back on, that gives us 59.29 to 59.39 and 61.21. There you go, Richard. Use your key and learn to watch it off the weeklies. And then if you're really short-term trading, use your daily pivots. Let's peek at Tesla. Still the key closing level is 213. 213 for the continued breakdown. Anything here, I'd watch for potential gap fill, and your major resistance is now this 232 area with the declining rotation zone and the hooking over 50 after closing below the key trend line. All right, XBI has triggered a monthly double bottom and is battling it out with the weekly 200. Let's look at XBI. And this is still trying to put in, a breakout. It's still got to sustain and get back above this 103, 105 area, really. I don't see anything else other than this is trying to still put in a higher base. And it has triggered, as Sterling said, it has triggered it's not going to show up on that because it's triggered this pattern. So I would still be, there's nothing that would take me away from bullish mode right now. Again, we'll go through. We can do more this week, Richard. We're heading into the open. We can do more this week. So, I mean, the most recent one, like in the S&P, see, this is would the most recent major one. I don't want to get more lines in this chart right now. Is this one? See this one I have? That would be from the key September 6 lows to this key pausing bar we just broke out of. And that gave us this first 58.84, and then it gives us the top of the next cluster area. All right, let's just see what we're doing heading into the open. Remember, Columbus Day, we might just have that lower grind higher, thinner markets. So going into the open, I mean, even at major support is coming in between this 58.66 to about 58.62. So as long as that's not violated, it's just a normal pullback. So that's where we sit. Not much else to talk about. I'll let everyone get to their day now. Thank you for tuning in, and I will be back tomorrow. Remember, nothing on tap for earnings today. Let's just recap. Take another look here. We got UNH is a big one tomorrow, and Citi and Bank of America. Those are your biggie, and Goldman Sachs. So that's your biggies tomorrow morning to keep an eye out pre-market. And we'll leave it at that. I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Talk to everyone later. Bye for now.